Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video I'll be going over all of the challenges for Season 3 of Battle Pass in War Thunder and give you the best vehicles and best ways to complete all of the tasks. I'll go over the nations to use, which game modes to play, the loadouts to choose, and then some. This said, please subscribe for more guides, reviews, and other content, but either way, let's get into the video. So first, let's go over some ground rules for you to know before I fully get into the guide. Now, all of the challenges require you to use a minimum of a Tier 3 vehicle or above. Also, don't forget that these challenges have timers, meaning that you have about 3 weeks to complete each of them before they are no longer completable, with the exception of 3 challenges that I will be going over. This makes it even more difficult, being that you will have limited opportunities to complete numerous challenges at the same time. And to start, I'll go over some of the more specialized challenges first. So first, let's go over Farmer's Walk. Destroy 10 enemies with a tank that has a cannon of 150mm or greater. This one is self-explanatory, but I'll just go over which vehicles are eligible and which are not eligible. So the tanks that will work are the Centurion Mark V ARVE, the FV4005, the SU and ISU 152, the Object 268, the Object 120, the American T-30, the M60A2, the M551 Sheridan, the Broombar, and the Japanese Type 75 SPH. ATGMs and rockets do not count, at least if they're standalone and are not fired through the cannon barrel. So if you have a vehicle that has 150mm rockets or missiles, they will not go towards the completion of this challenge. Recoilless rifles, such as what is on the Fiat 6614 or T114, if you have one that is of 150mm or larger, should work, but I just don't believe that there are any recoilless rifles that are currently in game that are that large. And finally, the 15cm SLG 33 for the Germans will not work for this challenge, being that it is a Tier 1 vehicle and you need Tier 3 vehicles again to complete it. I know this is something that I will receive tons of comments about, so I will reiterate one more time. The 15cm SLG 33 will not count towards the Farmer's Walk challenge. Also, in the same vein, the KV2 will not work for this challenge as well, although the KV2 1940 will be usable. But that is a marketplace tank and is currently selling for nothing because they don't exist on the marketplace as of the recording of this video, so good luck getting one. And even if you do, it'll probably cost over 100 GJN. So for the throws challenge, you need to get 5 kills with each 800+ kilogram bombs and 200+ kilogram rockets. Now this is a bit easier to figure out for bombs, so I'll start off with the eligible rockets and some of the planes that carry them. For the US, you have the Tiny Tim, which can be typically found on naval aircraft such as the AM-1, AD-2, and AM-4, along with Corsairs and Hellcats, although the AD-2 and AD-4 have the capability of carrying both a 2,000-pound bomb, which is greater than the 800 kilogram minimum, and Tiny Tims into battle at the same time. So in theory, you can get both parts of this challenge done simultaneously, although it might be difficult with how much these weapons will weigh down the vehicles, and they will be moving or sitting ducks more or less for SPAA. Now for other rockets, you have the S-24 for the USSR, which can be basically found on jets and helicopters like the IL-28, Mi-24, and Sukhoi 17 M2. And finally, if I'm not mistaken, we have the Uncle Tom rockets for the UK, which can be found on the Avenger Mark II premium plane, the Firebrand, and Mosquito Mark VI. Really, your best bet for this challenge is just to pick which attack aircraft you like best, and then to carry these rockets into battle and just go to town in ground RB. The same goes for the bomb portion of this as well. Like I said, the AD-2 and AD-4 may be your best bet for this, being that they carry both rockets and bombs that will be eligible for this mission, but they will be crazy slow if you do that. All 3 rocket types are basically as good as each other in destroying ground forces, so it doesn't really matter which nation you pick, just really whichever one you're most comfortable with. Also, just so you know, 800 kilograms roughly translates to around 1,750 pounds, so you'll likely need a 2,000 pound plus bomb to complete this if you're using non-metric nations. Now with that out of the way, let's get to the Duck Walk challenge, and you need to destroy 30 ships while using a coastal ship equipped with cannon or cannons of 75mm or larger. Now, because so few people play naval compared to other modes, and especially because this deals with coastal vessels, of which are played least of all out of all naval vessels, I'll give you a few types of ships to look out for that will generally carry the 75mm or greater cannons, and then highlight a few of which I believe to be the best, both from personal experience as I do actually play some naval, and from what I know regarding ship specs. So first and foremost, frigates, gunboats, and some upper-level subchasers will typically have 75mm or greater cannons. Most torpedo boats do not have large cannons, but oddly enough, you will be more likely to have larger cannons in motor torpedo gunboats than with just regular motor torpedo boats. Be on the lookout for the additional gun in the title. Also for nations, I'd recommend looking at Germany, the USSR, and Japan for your ship options for this challenge, as these countries not only have some of the most ships with larger cannons for coastal boats, but they're also some of the best and most well-rounded. For specific ships, I would recommend the SF-40 Schwere, MZ-1, the Type M 1943 if you do not mind buying premium, being that it has two 105mm cannons at a low BR, along with hosting amazing secondary armaments, which basically makes the Type M 1943 like a mini destroyer. Aside from German ships, I would recommend the PR 1124 for the Russians, as it sits at a low BR, is relatively easy to research, and has two 76mm cannons, all while still qualifying for this challenge. The Russians actually have tons of ships that qualify for this event, so check out other ships while you're there. A small tip from me is to play Naval AB rather than Naval RB, as I'm sure that most or many people will confirm is actually more fun and more played again than RB Naval. Also, make sure to purchase other ships that qualify as you attempt to complete this task, as the more ships that you will have that will allow you to actually play this task, obviously, will spawn in more times with qualifying ships that will make completing this challenge easier. Basically what I'm saying is that if you spawn in 3 times with 76mm cannon ships, you will have a much easier time than if you only have one ship that actually meets the criteria for this challenge. Additionally, you could go with UK ships, but they only start qualifying at Tier 4, meaning that you will either need to spend money in the marketplace to purchase the only Tier 3 English vehicle that qualifies, or you'll have to wait extra long before being able to start this challenge. For your final currently viable nation, you could go with Japan, but much like the UK, it doesn't have qualifying vehicles until Tier 4 due to cannon size limitations on their vehicles. You can, however, purchase the Akebono, which is an excellent premium coastal vessel, though I would still point you towards the Type M 1943 with the Germans if you're looking to purchase a premium ship for this challenge, as it is better overall and has more and bigger cannons. Finally, Italy has no vehicles that currently qualify in the regular tech tree, although you could make the argument that the premium Sparviero is the best vehicle actually for this challenge due to its very fast firing 76mm autocannon that will tear pretty much all coastal vehicles to shreds. Overall, however, I would still say that the Type M 1943 is the most well-rounded premium for this challenge, although again the Sparviero has the higher ceiling in terms of kills per match due to its speed and high damage output. Bear in mind that some of these cannons go by inches instead of millimeters, so if it says 3 inches on the cannon diameter, that's equivalent to around 76.2 millimeters, which would qualify. Anything less than a 3-inch diameter cannon will not qualify. Again, you need to use a rank 3 vehicle or greater to actually complete this challenge. And now moving on to the loading race challenge. For this challenge, it follows some of the aforementioned challenges where you need a certain size of weapon to destroy enemies. In this case, you need to kill 15 enemies with a plane that has a 35mm cannon or greater size. You can kill other planes, tanks, or ships. This might be about the easiest, as you can simply just get into a P-39 or P-63, of which are widely available in numerous tech trees, but especially with the Americans, and go bomber hunting. A single 37mm shell from these cannons can knock out most bombers in a single hit, as well as wipe out most of their escorts. Alternatively, you can use ground attack aircraft like the ME-262A1U4, which is what I'll be doing, and destroy enemy tanks to complete this task. I personally find this actually to be a bit more fun, as the 50mm on the Narwhal is much more accurate than most larger caliber anti-aircraft cannons mounted on aircraft, making it easier to get consistent kills. You can also use the Hurricane Mark IV, Tempest Mark V Vickers P, PBJ-1H, TISMA. Really, Germany and England are excellent. The UK are excellent when it comes to ground attack cannon aircraft, and actually most early Soviet jet fighters and some Soviet prop planes, like the Yak-9T, so long as they have that 37mm cannon. Due to the prevalence of the 37mm in Soviet planes, playing them, especially if you have early Soviet jets, is probably going to be about the easiest way to complete this. With most challenges, I'd also recommend doing this in arcade, at least if you plan on destroying aircraft, just due to the fact that you will be able to spawn into numerous aircraft that have the 37mm and are much more likely to get numerous kills per match than you would be in RB. By playing Air Arcade, you will likely get this challenge done several times quicker than if you play Air RB, at least if your goal is to destroy enemy aircraft. And moving on, let's get to Super Yoke, where you have to destroy 50 enemy tanks while yourself using a heavy tank. Personally, I would just use the Tiger or Tiger II for this challenge, and maybe the Carnarvon. If you do not have these tanks, using the M6 or I suppose the M6A2E1 will be a good strategy. Really just pick your favorite tier 3 or higher heavy tank for this challenge. The KV-1 ZIS-5, the M4A3E2 Jumbo Sherman, and some UASM are also really good options. I'd say to stick around between 4.7 and 7.3 BR if possible, and to play in either AB or RB, as it really doesn't matter for this challenge outside of slightly different BRs for some tanks. Moving on from Super Yoke, we have Husafell, and this one is a little bit unique because you do not need to use a rank 3 vehicle for this, and that's because you need 30 kills and or assists between the 4 Battle Pass vehicles. Now, that includes the Toldi too. So being that this is a time challenge and that you only have 3 weeks to complete it, I would recommend just using, again, the Toldi 2A to complete this challenge. It has enough armor pen to defeat most, if not all, enemies that it will face with relative ease, and there are plenty of enemies at 1.3 BR, aside from maybe if you get up tier and you have to face a B1. I'd avoid using the Voroshilov if possible, just due to how long naval matches can take compared to other matches, and how many kills you might receive in one. The other 2 vehicles are great options as well, but really you can just use whichever vehicle you have or whichever one you like most. Again, I'd just say to pick the Toldi 2A because it's low hanging fruit and probably because it's the easiest way to get this challenge done, but it's really just a challenge based on player preference. Moving on, we have Overhead Press, where you have to earn 5 survival medals. This is one of the 3 Battle Pass challenges for Season 3 that does not have a time limit. You unlock it once you hit Battle Pass level 21, so the quicker you get to level 21, the more time that you'll have to complete this possibly difficult challenge. Now for survival medals, you need to kill at least 5 people and not to die once in the match. Pick your best vehicle at the start of the match and just hope that you don't die. This isn't where you get a 5 kill streak and that's it. You literally need to not die at any point in the match, which places special importance that you pick the right vehicle at the beginning of your match. This one, in my opinion, is more difficult to achieve than almost any other medal in game, including the Heavy Metal Hero, which requires 6 or 12 kills in a match, depending on if you play arcade or RB. Really, I would pick something that's got good armor, good power, decent speed, and hope that you are down tiered. To give you an idea of what I mean, I'd say that the B1 Terror would be perfect for this challenge, but it's a tier 2 vehicle and is thus ineligible. Rather, a tank that fires quickly and can pen most of the time, such as the Carnarvon or a Samua SM, or any tank that you're comfortable with that features the aforementioned qualities, would be good for this challenge. Alternatively, large ships like battle cruisers, battleships, and heavy cruisers would also be excellent in this role. Heck, if you're good with smaller boats such as the ones that I mentioned in the 75mm challenge, you could be quite successful. I would check out Paul's channel that I linked below for an example of how to earn the survival medal in naval, albeit with a tier 2 ship. Personally, I've also had luck with the Carnarvon in ground AB, earning it twice in one night, but I've had also much less luck in ground RB with that same vehicle. So again, it's all a matter of player preference. And from here on out, the challenges get a little bit easier. So next we have Power Stairs, where you have to destroy 30 enemies with a light cruiser, heavy cruiser, battle cruiser, or battleship. And this one's a bit of a pain because I know how few people actually play naval, and I also know how hard the grind is in naval to reach cruisers. If you're starting out fresh in naval and have nothing unlocked, it'll be quite some time before you consume enough RP to unlock your first cruisers. I would recommend to go with the Germans if you like more armor and good guns, especially with the Nuremberg, or Japan if you like the idea of much better torpedoes in terms of range and damage. For me, I would recommend AB Naval for this task and will personally be playing the Nuremberg, Prinz Eugen, and Graf Spee to complete this. And the Prinz Eugen is an excellent premium ship. I've actually linked the review for that ship that I made below, so check it out if you're interested in picking up the Prinz Eugen. Next, we have Cake Toss. This is another challenge that has no defined time limit, but is only startable at Battle Pass level 41, and you have to set fire to 30 vehicles. For this challenge, I would either use naval with HE shells, or just shoot the fuel tanks and engines of tanks. Alternatively, shooting the engines of bombers will make this one fly by very quickly. If using aircraft for this challenge, I would recommend using air target ammunition, or whatever type of ammo has the most incendiary rounds if you're using MGs rather than cannons. For cannon ammunition, I would go with the option that has the most HE ammo in your ammo belt. You could probably do this task at the same time as you complete the Power Stairs challenge that requires you to get 30 kills in cruisers or a battleship. The amount of times that you set ships on fire in War Thunder Naval is insane, and this way you'd be able to get the most out of your time in Naval, especially if you don't really like playing it. And finally, for the more difficult challenges, and this is probably the easiest of them, we have Atlas Stones, which is unlockable at level 61 and has no time limit. Basically, you just need to kill 10 vehicles while you yourself are on a control point. I found that this one would be very easy and likely the easiest on ground maps, though you could do this in naval if you have a ship that can take a heavy beating and still be mobile enough to capture control points, such as a heavy cruiser. This challenge is ineligible for air matches, but should still be doable if you want to cap a point in a helicopter or plane in a ground match, though you will have a tough time killing anything while you're sitting on the ground in either a helicopter or a plane. And the final challenges that I didn't mention before are as follows: squat, pole pushing, tug of war, deadlift, Fingal's Fingers, and Hercules Hold. Now these challenges that I just mentioned are essentially just challenges that you use your favorite vehicles to either win, get kills, or some combination of the two. The only one of note is Fingal's Fingers, where you need to get 20 professional medals, which are given only once you reach 5 kills in a match, and for each subsequent kill in the match after that. So if you have 5 kills, you get 1 professional medal, whereas if you hit 6 total kills, you'll have 2 professional medals for that match, and so forth. For me, I'll be playing mid BR German Air AB, because I easily get 5 to 10 professional medals per match in that when I'm just playing around. Basically, just play whichever vehicles and modes you feel like will be most comfortable for you, while getting around 5+ kills again per match, because you need to break that 5+ kill threshold in order to get 1 professional medal. But that all being said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. It all means the world to me. Please subscribe if you haven't already, comment below for the algorithm, or just because you want to comment, and like this video because you're a cool person. Either way, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.